Shocking developments are emerging from the heart of the British royal family, revelations that threaten to reshape the monarchy in ways few could have anticipated. Princess Anne, long celebrated as the hardest-working member of the firm, is quietly grappling with a serious and unpredictable decline in her health. The implications are profound, not merely for the Princess Royal herself, but for the future structure and continuity of the entire institution. In an unprecedented move that shatters centuries of rigid protocol, King Charles has reportedly given his blessing for Anne's daughter, ZARA TINDALL, the only one of Anne's children who has never carried a royal title, to be groomed as her mother's potential successor in key duties. This is not a distant contingency plan. According to palace sources quoted in New Idea magazine, Princess Anne's condition has deteriorated to the point where her ability to maintain her famously relentless schedule can no longer be taken for granted. Insiders describe her health as unpredictable, a stark admission for a woman who has spent decades powering through every commitment with stoic determination. The urgency is unmistakable. ZARA TINDALL is already being briefed and shadowed in her mother's engagements, with the clear understanding that she may need to step in permanently, possibly as early as the coming year. One telling example is this December's Festival of Nine Lessons and Carol Service for the Mission to Seafarers, an organization for which Princess Anne has served as president for decades. Traditionally, and hosts this poignant, low-key celebration that honors maritime workers and their families. This year, ZARA has been deeply involved in the preparations, an involvement that sources say goes far beyond mere assistance. It is, in effect, an apprenticeship. ZARA is learning the ropes because the royal family must now contemplate a future in which Princess Anne may no longer be physically able to continue the work that has defined her life. For context, Princess Anne's work ethic is legendary. Year in and year out, the court circular reveals that she undertakes more official engagements than almost any other royal, often outpacing even the King and the Prince of Wales. In 2023, for instance, she completed 457 official engagements, a figure that dwarfs most of her relatives. She maintains patronage of over 300 charities and organizations, ranging from Save the Children to the Royal Yacht Squadron, from the Riding for the Disabled Association to numerous military regiments. Her diary is a blur of ribbon cuttings, ship launchings, hospital visits, and overseas representation. She travels incessantly, complains never, and has built a reputation as the royal family's indispensable backbone. The prospect that this extraordinary engine of duty might be forced to slow, or even stop, is causing quiet alarm both inside Buckingham Palace and among the hundreds of organizations that depend on her personal commitment. But Princess Anne is not thinking only in logistical terms. Sources say she is determined that certain traditions and causes that are particularly close to her heart should survive through someone who truly understands their significance. That someone, she has decided, is ZARA. ZARA TINDALL's journey to this moment has been anything but conventional. Born Zara Phillips in 1981, she is the second child of Princess Anne and her first husband, Captain Mark Phillips. When Zara and her older brother Peter were born, Queen Elizabeth II offered to confer titles, Her Royal Highness and Prince/Princess, upon the grandchildren. It was a generous gesture, one that would have placed them firmly within the titled inner circle. But Princess Anne, in a decision that stunned courtiers at the time, turned it down flat. In a rare 2020 interview with Vanity Fair, Anne explained her reasoning with characteristic bluntness. I think it was probably easier for them, and I think most people would argue that there are downsides to having titles. So, I think that was the right decision. She wanted her children to have as normal a childhood as possible, free from the suffocating expectations and constant scrutiny that accompany royal status. The gamble paid off spectacularly. Peter Phillips built a career in sports management and marketing. Zara became a world-class equestrian, winning silver at the 2012 London Olympics, marrying former England rugby captain Mike Tindall, and raising 3 children, Mia, Lena, and Lucas, largely outside the royal bubble. Zara has always attended major family events, Trooping the Colour, Christmas at Sandringham, royal weddings, but she has done so as a private citizen. She has her own sponsorship deals, Rolex, Land Rover, her own income, and her own fiercely protected privacy. Until now, the understanding was crystal clear. She was family, but not a working royal. That line is now being erased. King Charles, facing the thinnest roster of working royals in modern history, has reportedly endorsed the arrangement. With only a handful of senior members left, himself recovering from cancer, Queen Camilla, the Prince and Princess of Wales, Catherine also recently treated for cancer, the Duke and Duchess of Edinburgh, and the aging Princess Alexandra. The king has long spoken of a slimmed-down monarchy. But slimming down brings its own problems when the workload remains heavy and several key players are simultaneously battling serious illness or scandal, Prince Andrew, or have removed themselves entirely, Harry and Meghan. In this context, Zara represents an elegant, if radical, solution. She is trusted implicitly by the family, shares her mother's no-nonsense ethos and passion for horses and royal causes, and, crucially, has no entitlement baggage or history of courting publicity. Yet she also has no title, no automatic claim to public funding via the sovereign grant, and no precedent to lean on. If she formally steps into a working role, a host of practical questions arise. Will she receive financial support for staffing, security, and wardrobe? Will her children suddenly find themselves drawn deeper into royal life than anyone anticipated? Could her brother Peter, or the princesses Beatrice and Eugenie, who do have titles but currently do not undertake official duties, be next in line for similar call-ups? This moment feels like a quiet revolution. For the first time in centuries, the monarchy is seriously contemplating the regular performance of royal duties by someone who is not a prince, princess, duke, or duchess by title. It is a crack in the ancient edifice, a recognition that blood and affection may, in the 21st century, matter more than formal rank. Behind the constitutional novelty lies a deeply human story. Princess, and at 75, is confronting her own mortality and the limits of even her formidable stamina. The 2024 concussion she suffered after being kicked by a horse was a stark reminder of vulnerability. Insiders suggest the current concerns go beyond that incident, though the palace, true to form, remains silent. For a woman who has never sought pity and rarely taken a day off, preparing her daughter as a potential successor must be a bittersweet milestone. The passing of a torch she never expected to relinquish so soon for Zara, now 44. The request cannot be easy. She has spent her entire adult life proving she can succeed on her own terms. Accepting a significant royal brief means surrendering elements of the independence she and her mother fought so hard to protect. Yet every report suggests she is stepping up without hesitation, driven by love for her mother and an instinctive sense of duty that clearly runs in the blood. As 2026 approaches, the British monarchy stands at a fascinating inflection point. Tradition is colliding with necessity. The old rules, who may serve, how they are supported, what royal even means, are being rewritten in real time by a family forced to adapt or risk collapse under its own shrinking weight. Princess Anne's unpredictable health has become the catalyst for change no one saw coming. ZARA TINDALL, the untitled granddaughter of a late queen, may soon be shouldering responsibilities once reserved exclusively for those born or married into titles. Whether this is the beginning of a broader, more flexible monarchy, or simply a pragmatic stopgap born of crisis, remains to be seen. One thing, however, is certain. The story of the British royal family in the late 2020s will be defined, in no small part, by a mother's fading strength and a daughter's quiet willingness to carry the load forward. The crown itself may look very different on the other side of this transition.